And we're live! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Save or Dice. We are in the middle of our Court of Wyrms campaign. Our current dungeon master over there is the Whiskered Warlord, the one and only David Friant with Nerdarchy. Of course, we have Jacob BUDZ with XP to level 3. We have Jordan Peterson with Jorphdan, the PH is silent. And we have tonight playing Fianna, and only Fianna. We have Tia ZIMMER, aka LauraLania. And so with no further ado, I'm going to hand this thing over to the one and only Tia, who has a few words about our sponsors.
Hello. I do have a couple of words about our sponsors.
Maybe one.
Dice, bags, beard oil. What do these things all have in common? They're all 10% off at Norse Foundry. You can check out the link down below if you guys want to sling dice the way that the professionals do, or if you even want to do it semi-casually, you want to look at Fantasy Grounds, which is our virtual tabletop tool of choice. It is fantastic. And pyromancers.com is our dungeon painter studio. So if you like all the maps that we're using on Fantasy Grounds with our tabletop tool of choice, and you are at home stroking that fine beard, then you are getting a triple threat with all of the deals that are going on here today. So make sure you check it out. Also, hello to everybody on YouTube. You guys are fantastic. For those of you that are watching over on my channel, Twitch, because Saber Dice is being very gracious, and we're going to multi-stream this to Twitch and YouTube. So if you guys have no idea what's going on in my channel right now, you are going to want to head over to here to YouTube with all the people that are pros at Save or Dice and meet these fine people. That's me.
Dave, it's all you, buddy.
Awesome. I'm so stunned by that intro. That was good. That was so good.
I'm always ready.
It feels like we should just end it now while we're ahead.
I'm the Sam Riegel of Saber Dice.
If combat goes tonight like it did last time, it might be best to end it a little early. I'm just saying.
So we had left off with the Court of Wyrms has been called. Briella, the Empress, summoned you to basically to her throne room, introduced herself, and basically did what the TW, why are you guys here? And implied that she felt it psychically, magically, what your arrival, something has definitely changed in their land. You guys are from all over the multiverse, you're from different places, different planes. You've discovered yourself in a different world, a new world. When you look up the sky, it is not the sky you're used to seeing. Some of you may even be late to getting to a birthday party. It's probably not going to happen. It does seem. It had been explained that this veil that you guys are kind of in has been magically sealed for millennia, meaning it's impossible to travel through, into, or out of the veil magically. Yet somehow you have managed to do it. You're not quite sure. In the beginning episode, you were all plucked from your own homelands, found yourself swirling in this vastness of nothing, fighting for your lives, and ended up in this city full of kobolds and dragonborn and other scout folk. The Empress has agreed to put you under her protection, as well as to assist you in getting back to your homelands, even though you probably will not be on time for a birthday party tomorrow. But she's going to do her best. She's also made it clear there are 3 other city-states, much like this one, ruled by other emperors, and they would have felt your presence as well. Nothing like this has happened in over a millennia, and therefore from here she's requested, with a slight amount of force, that you attend this Court of Wyrms so that she may present you before her peers. You guys had the luck of encountering some of the more helpful kobolds and dragonborns that kind of patched you up after your adventures through the nothing, and now you're being shown the hospitality for the evening before you to set out the next day. Is there anything in particular you guys want to try and do? Questions you want to ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we being escorted?
Yes, you're not going to go by yourself. So, from what you gather from talking to the Empress and the different Dragonborn and kobolds you've been around, this Court of Worms is a big deal. It does not happen often, and there will be a lot of pomp and circumstance to go along with it.
And Dave, can you remind me? There was two of the other like not empresses, but like there was an oath maker and like a was the other one, a keeper? The keeper. Okay, but we didn't actually get their names or any additional information about them, did we?
So if not, we could fill that in now. After some inquiries, you find out Gavnar, the keeper, rules the city of Zenkir.
Okay.
And Samor, the Oathmaker, rules the city of Marson. You've attended to Briella Moontalon, and that's Sarasa, the city you're currently in.
Sriracha.
So I know, damn it, you beat me to it, Jordan.
And the street.
It goes
Taking a break.
Everything goes great with everything.
As soon as he said it, I was like, my brain was like, make a sriracha joke right now. Cool. So, my friends, is there? Do we feel safe here in this particular place with this Empress under her guard?
I don't think it quite matters. Where else would we go? We've been shown nothing but hospitality here, and, well, our friend has proven that the food is quite edible.
I was going to say that the food is quite good.
If they wanted to kill us, they would have done so by now. I imagine we're as much a curiosity to them as they are to us.
I don't have any teleportation magic, but I'm wondering if there's somebody within the royal court of this place that I could talk to and maybe share spells back and forth, perhaps, and find a way home that way. And then we don't need to follow all this pomp and circumstance with this Court of Worms, where we will most likely be devoured.
I certainly hope that is not the case.
I'm a humble toy maker. I'm pretty sure dragons mean business.
Well, for your sake, I hope you're not a tasty toy maker.
I think that perhaps we should, instead of focusing our attention on our very gracious hosts, take a look at the adventure that is right before us, the unspoken one. I think that is something that I might quite want to look into.
It doesn't seem a bit dangerous, though.
Well, I fancy a bit of danger. We're in a different time, a different world. Don't you think this is our destiny?
We almost died in the mist.
It is not that I am afraid of destiny, but as a sailor, if a dark water is presented and told tales about of being unsafe, you do not travel there.
So you didn't sail the dark waters?
No.
You're not a pirate of the dark water?
I'm no pirate.
Okay.
And I take offense of you inferring that I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've heard the
Does
stories.
he actually take offense, or is he trying to like?
No, yeah, I know. He's like seriously offended. This is his offended face. This casual.
An alien world called Myrrh, and I just wanted to make sure you were not one of these pirates of dark water that I've heard of in stories.
Oh.
No,
that's so bad.
I am no pirate.
If we were to go after this deceiver, this unspoken one, where would we even start? We have no leads other than no one will talk about them.
Well, you could go where any good story begins, and to the tavern. I'm sure there's someone. There's local tales. I mean,
are we not going to be
singing?
Accompanied by our scaly friends here, probably at all times?
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing in case weird undead spiders come back and attack us.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Well,
Sahim has kind of voiced like his desire to possibly find other arcanists in this place.
Yes.
Does he do anything other than voice it to your companions?
I was kind of feeling it out with my companions. If you guys don't feel that is a bad idea, perhaps I'll approach Lady Briella and see if she has some arcanists that I can speak to.
Oh no, you should totally do that.
So I go up to Lady Briella and ask her if there are any arcanists that you have in your court that I might trade with.
Absolutely. I will summon one. You know, you're free to do what you will for the evening. We will leave tomorrow in the morning, not too terribly early. We have plenty of time before the court to get there. And I would not force you to even go if you so choose not to. But I cannot say that my counterparts will not be seeking you out. At least if you appear in the court, it will offer some legitimacy to your being here in this place.
Other than it's odd, is there some reason that they want to meet us? Because again, there's no importance to me. I'm just a humble toy maker.
Everyone is important in their own way, my child.
That's true.
The fact that you've come through the vow and you've appeared here magically is of great importance. It is something that's not happened like I said, in my lifetime. This place has been sealed from magical transport. And as far as I know, it still is, but somehow you've managed to work your way through.
I would like to explore that possibility more and see if there is a way we can reverse this and go home.
So I can send you to Nemeth's chamber, or I can Nemeth can meet with you in the chambers we shall provide. We can actually set you up with your own rooms, of course, and an interconnected common area. It should be easy enough to accommodate.
That would be wonderful.
So, so how do you want to do it? Do you want him to come to you, or do you want to go off and see him?
I'll go off and see him. Who is it? A kobold? Is it a dragonborn? Is it somebody other special?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking Lady Briella. Like,
okay. So, Nemeth is one of the dragonborn.
Okay.
And it's a bit of an odd pursuit for them. Most of them take to the warrior ways, but we are a free city, and all may do as they wish within the law.
There is great power in the art. I'm sure he made a wise decision.
You notice like the ever so slightest of smiles on her face when you say that.
As if I grin back just big.
As if she's being patient with a child. So she actually summons Pith, even though it doesn't seem like this would be his normal role, to kind of show everyone to the common area and your rooms, and then escort you to see Nymph.
So we were escorted to rooms?
Yes. Unless you decide to go.
What kind of I'm interested in what kind of guard has been placed around. Like I get that we're under their watch, protection, confinement, whatever you want to categorize it as. What kind of people are nearby and watching us?
Okay, so Pith escorts you. The escort that kind of brought you into see the Empress either stays or departs. They don't go with you. Only one Dragonborn, the captain that you guys had interacted with earlier, he's been kind of assigned to you, Graflim, as you know.
So they don't have they're not standing watch outside our doors with 8 or 9 dudes, right?
No.
Okay. Cool.
And he is acting more as a liaison than anything. Not so much, I wouldn't say really a guard. Though he might be keeping eyes on you as well.
Pith, are we locked in here? Are we free to roam around? Are we free to explore?
You are free to. Can all go where you like outside of the Moonspire here. In the Moonspire, you have to understand this is the Empress's domain, so you're not going to be given free reign here. But
We
within
mean no
this,
disrespect. So
I understand.
if we need to stay where we are, I understand because I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's.
But we can move about the city as we like.
Yes.
Right. That's good, at least. I don't have them watching our back, I guess.
Well, perhaps it would be good to, stretch our legs a little bit. This
I
one
agree
here
with that.
is got some wonderful music that might be a little loud in here. Isn't that right, Flinren? Yes. Pith, you don't mind. We're going to go for a little walk, really. Just kind of take in this place.
That is fine, but I will give you this words of warning. Within this city, within the Empress's domain, you will fall under her protection. If you were to leave, the Oathmaker, you may do okay with. He's fair and just. But the Keeper, that one, be wary.
That is good to know.
He will likely seek you out if you're not under the Empress's protection.
Oh, nothing like that. We're not running away. We're just stretching our legs. It'll be fine. I want to kind of get the guys like out and away and wandering the city a little bit and see.
Okay.
Perhaps, and I kind of lean into Fiona. Perhaps we could discern more information about this, the one who cannot be spoken of.
Well, it's like all things in the government. There's only certain things that they can tell us and certain things that they can't tell us. And I think that the people of the city will be much more forthcoming. Besides, again, new worlds, new women to meet, new wine to drink, new places to dance. I don't want to stay inside anymore.
I agree with that. I think we'll find more information amongst the people than we'll find anywhere with, the officials who don't want to talk about it.
This is Jordan talking. Do you want Jordan to go with you, or do you want to split the party?
Please do not split the
please.
party.
No, all of
Please
us
do
are
not
like,
split the party.
no, let's just. Well, I mean, you wanted to meet up with this person to trade or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah,
we,
or
let's do
just
that.
talk about the magic of the area, see if it's different or anything. Get
We
a
can bounce.
arcane vibe.
Let's bounce down to the city after you chat with your
Okay.
magic chick.
Magic
Yeah.
chick.
All right, so you guys kind of check out your accommodations while Pith leads you to Nimeth, and he raps on the door, and after a bit you hear some shuffling inside, and the door creaks open, and the oldest looking dragonborn you've ever seen, he is hunched over and leaning on a cane. It's not a piece of wood, and you can see where it looks like maybe some of the scales are actually flaking off. And usually, a lot of the dragonborn you see, they tend to be really fit and kind of in shape. And this guy is the opposite. He looks like the letter J practically.
It's a dead dragon. It's the dragon.
It's a Komodo.
Yeah.
Today's letter J.
Exactly. Greetings, Pith. Who have you brought me? The Empress has sent me with a visitor to meet you. And then he kind of squints down at the. You're a gnome, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And squints down at you. This is quite odd. It's another little one like the kobolds, but I've only seen these in books and stories.
But you have seen me.
In stories, I've heard tales of little hairless apes. Oh, that's rude of me. I apologize.
Oh, no offense taken, sir. My name is Sahim. I am a wizard extraordinaire, as some would call me. Are you a practicer of the arcane arts?
I am. Come in.
And I walk in.
I'll walk in as well.
Oh yeah, we'll follow.
What's the technology like as we're walking around? Is there steam powered stuff? Is there water clocks? How different from our own time is it?
I think you may have seen some water clocks, and you may have seen a couple like things that maybe you haven't been able to identify. Some of the soldiers, some of the dragonborns were carrying around these long tubes. They kind of look like staffs with wooden like blade, almost like blades at one end. They kind of look like, but they're dull and unsharpened, and then metal tubing from the other end.
Sorry, chat is amazing right now.
What is wooden? Wooden?
Wooden.
I want that hairless. I want the Bollywood hairless ape stance. I'm starting to Fiona's starting to wonder if, like, because I know this valley, we're supposedly in a valley from what we've been told, and I'm almost wondering if we've gone forward in time past civilization instead of backwards. So that's my line between the technology.
I still think
we're
that
still in the same.
Not outside of time or anything like that. It's just we're in a different world, a different universe.
Were there more than one moon? I think we talked about this last time. There's different moons, right?
Different stars.
There was
Different
one,
stars. Okay, there's one
stars,
moon,
yes.
but different stars. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna continue to follow along.
Where
as
I
we-
come from, there's 2 moons.
What?
Yep, we got 2 moons.
really 2 moons, you say? That's fascinating.
One's really far away and it's kind of red, and one's a lot closer and it's blue. But they're about the same size as the normal one, and they kind of move across each other. Lots of people like to make stories about that they love each other, or that one's evil and one's not. There's a lot of mythology behind it. Halflings just like to drink when they both, coincide. Halflings like to drink all the time.
How do the wolves know which one to howl at?
Do wolves howl at moons?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course they do.
I think they howl more at the blue one.
How do you sail your seas with those 2 moons?
What do you mean?
They don't pull ocean waters. That is story that I heard.
They pull the oceans where you're from?
That is.
I mean, isn't that how you get the tides?
He starts writing down. He's like,
he's a bard. He's like, no, I got it. New story.
he's a
Today I
halfling
discovered-
bard. He's sheltered. He's what are tides?
Well, I think from Fiona's world there was not 2 moons, because I don't know if I'm supposed to say that out loud, so I'm gonna typey something into the
That's just
chat
very
real
interesting.
quick.
All that water.
Nemeth,
Yes, come in. And you kind of come into it. Looks like it is a workshop. There's several stools and a bench that you guys can sit on. There's also a desk with a chair at it. But the furniture is kind of Spartan. There's alchemical supplies and books and scrolls all over the place. He's got like a chalkboard on one side, one wall, and with all kinds of like formulae written on it.
you're an alchemist, I see.
I do practice some of the alchemy art.
No, we'll have to talk about that as well. For I also practice, although I don't have my tools with me. Do you have a spare set that I might take with me on my journey to the Court of Wyrms?
I could definitely arrange something.
Okay.
Yes, and it is quite odd that they've called for the court. It's not happened in my lifetime, and I am an old man.
You don't look a day over 300?
Oh, you look very old. How old are you? I'm very fascinated.
300. Oh, you're so kind. You're so kind. I am approaching my 1000th year.
No shit.
I've never met anyone older than about 250. So this is a grand achievement. I will write songs about you. What's your name?
Nymph.
Nymph?
Nymph.
All right. He begins writing that down.
So what is it? What is it have come for? And how have you come by the veil? Did you sail through the Dragon's Maw? Very treacherous and dangerous. Your friend is a sailor, he said.
We did not sail. We seem to be enveloped in some kind of mist and arrived here through
We
happenstance.
popped through a creepy spider portal where we almost died.
That also happened, yes.
He really almost died, though.
Yes, that's true.
That is terrible. Terrible. I
Terrifying
said.
too.
Do you have any, like, dragon potions that could prevent him from taking more spider bites? That would probably good for you. Also, I hate to say this, my friend, but you need some form of a shield of protection. You were taking quite a few beatings there.
Don't worry, I can protect him.
No, I was talking about you.
Oh, you're talking about me? Oh, right.
They don't have shields where you come from, like little small ones.
Oh, I mean, the fighters, the protectors, the warriors. I've never really been one to wield a shield.
Perhaps you should invest.
We do have many warriors here in this city, even small ones like yourself among the kobolds. You could probably get a shield from them.
I might invest in that, but then I couldn't play my instrument, and the instrument I need to, heal and cast my magic, which, I'm a lot better at. Maybe, do you have armor? Maybe better armor in the city that I could use?
There is armor in the city. The warriors, they all wear armor, as you've probably seen.
Well, there we go. I could, go find something like that.
Now, you said something about sailing through the Dragon's Maw. Did you mean physically sailing, or...?
Yes, yes. The dragon's tail runs all the way from the mountains deep in the vale, all the way through the land into the inner Dragon Sea. The maw is a treacherous portion of the sea where there's many shoals and reefs. Many ships have run aground upon it. Only the most skilled of sailors have been able to navigate it. That is why rarely do our folks sail outside of the Vale. There are mountain passes as well. They have their own problems, but in some ways, they're easier to navigate than the mall.
Well, it is good for you, and I kind of slap over at Sahim, that you have a master sailor present here.
Very good, yes.
Are we going to have to go in the water?
To our eventual sailing. As he takes a big gulp, because don't like the water very much.
I've never been on a boat before.
But you said you've come from other places. You're not from here, this world.
No, we're not. And as far as my knowledge of the planes of existence and every other things is, there might be an infinite amount of planes, and we have stumbled upon one of them somehow, like various bubbles floating through the ether. Sometimes they touch, and I'm wondering if that touch is what brought us here.
Sahim, you are very smart.
You are
thank you.
quite
He
intelligent.
blushes.
Normally, I would agree, but this place has been sealed by powerful magics from that, so that would not happen.
Do you happen to have a teleportation circle that I could see, and maybe I can figure out where this teleportation circle is anchored and see if we can go to another one that I'm familiar with?
Yes, I do. I do have one. And he leads you to like a corner where there's like all kinds of papers like spread out over the ground, and he begins like painstakingly, carefully stacking them and moving them aside. And it is going to take a long time.
Are we going to have to translate the Stargate before we open it? Teleportation portal. Sorry.
There always seem to be anchored in a place, and we could use that information to maybe find another point, another anchor, and teleport that way. I don't think I can get all of you home, but perhaps I can get myself home.
Well, depending on how things go here, this might become home for me. I rather quite like it.
So Pith kind of like darts in and begins quickly stacking pages, seeing that this is going to take quite some time. Let me help. I will help you. I got this. And he begins shuffling everything. And before you know it, teleportation circle begins to appear before you. On the ground are basically a double circle, and in between the circles are runes that are actually carved into the floor, and you can see actually they've been inlaid with it looks like maybe a silver or electrum or platinum style metal.
Do I recognize any of these symbols?
Probably. I mean, if you're trained in Arcana and if you have any kind of teleportation magic, you would definitely.
So I don't have teleportation magic, other than Misty Step, which is just a short one that I can do.
Yeah.
Which is another reason that I came here to say, Nymph, is there a teleport spell that you know that you could perhaps teach me?
You sneaky bastard.
I
You sneaky sneak. You may be a wizard on the outside, but you're just like us on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to use one of your own spells.
He goes over to one of the walls where it's basically, it looks like a wine rack, but for scroll cases.
Nice.
And he starts like thumbing through, and he pulls one out.
Perhaps this will help you.
And hands you a scroll.
Do you have scrolls?
Yes.
Do you sell them?
I have in the past. I mean, there are not that many people in the city that can make use of them.
Oh, I could make use of them. There's this one spell that I know about. I can't cast it, but I've seen other people try to cast it, where you it transforms your skin into bark, into tree like substance, and it can keep you safe. Would you happen to have any sort of spell like that?
That is not a discipline that I am proficient in.
Huh.
You would need one of those wood wizards to help you with that.
Oh, you have wood wizards.
Well, druids, I believe they call themselves.
No, they're called wood wizards. Where are your wood wizards?
Canon.
I fancy wood wizards myself.
I fancy myself a wood wizard from time to time too, but we don't go talking about it.
I know a few wood wizards.
I'm afraid I do not. They usually reside outside of the walls of the city.
I've seen them speak this magical language. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to call it wood wizardian. Wood wizardian. Woodian. We'll call it Woodian.
Nah, fam, they're called wood wizards.
Fiona is also just laughing hysterically at this point. That's not even out of character. That is, she is.
Do you have any other spell scrolls that I could possibly procure that could protect me a little bit more? Because that seems to be a bit of a problem, because I got stabbed a lot.
He did get stabbed a lot.
And I don't have anything to prevent stabbing. I can heal stabbing, but I can't protect it.
He like leans in towards you and squints. Oh yes, I do see the holes in your tunic. There are many.
I have holes. He begins to cover them. I need to sew. Sorry, what?
I could perhaps give you this.
And he pulls a scroll from off the wall and hands it to you. And it's a scroll of blur.
Of what?
A
Blur.
Oh, I thought you said
blur.
blart, and I was
Blur.
like,
Blur.
that's a new one.
Blur. Blar. Water. All right, cool.
This
You're gonna
will,
do it,
this
Jacob.
will make
You're
it
gonna
hard
do it.
for your enemies to see you.
I'm already done with this campaign.
Thank you very much. I could use this. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm excited. And he puts it into his satchel.
So I've got this
That's
teleport
blurred.
scroll.
Yeah, you have a teleport scroll.
I mean,
I would like to see if I can use it and get home. Is that something that I feel like I can do, knowing that this teleportation circle is here? I have this scroll.
that's it for Jordan in the campaign, guys.
We'll see. I'm following. I mean, my character.
I mean, maybe he could go and get a word that, like, I don't. I'm only an arcane trickster. Would I understand that the teleportation spell might only work for him? Is that something my character would have knowledge of? Because I don't want to metagaming pigeon here and be like, "Don't you?"
Well, it really depends on how magic-y your arcane trickster is. So.
I feel like it's more of a flippant thing for her, so I'm gonna go with no. All right, you're taking us home then. Fantastic.
So, where is it you wish to go?
Oh, to Faerun, where I live.
I'm also from Faerun.
I'm not from Faerun.
I am not from Faerun.
Sword Coast?
Yes, Neverwinter.
Ah, very nice place.
I must
Never
warn
went
you that it is not likely to whisk you from the veil. As I said, magic has not worked that way for as long as I've been alive and before.
I have a
Because
question.
as all
What,
the
what
stories point out, that's a little too easy.
what would happen, let's say, if the magic does not work? I have heard awful stories from sailors traveling along the coastline that sometimes magic causes wizards, the bad magic causes them to explode. And that is not something that I particularly would like to see.
Well,
Is he
let's
going
see.
to explode is basically what I'm
What are
asking.
the things that could happen? One, he could be redirected for trying to go someplace that he cannot go, possibly even appearing in a solid object. I would not recommend that. That is very bit of bad business for sure. It might just not work. It may just send him somewhere else in the veil. Any of those are possibilities. You could use it to go somewhere else in the veil, though.
Okay.
Wait, You'd have.
May I keep this scroll, Nymph?
Can I have a glass of wine, please?
You may keep the scroll, and
from the rack where the scrolls are, he does produce one bottle of wine.
Oh,
I
So
have not had the cause to
Hold on to
intervene
this.
in many years.
Maybe when we punch a hole through this veil, that is when the opportune moment to use this spell scroll will be.
You're talking about punching the veil.
I'm talking about, yes, we'll magically puncture the veil so that there's a hole, and then we can then teleport through that hole. But for right now, it sounds like we're going to be trapped here. So I'd rather not waste this, as this is my ticket out of here.
Like a hole in ship
That's true.
that causes it to sink. I get it. I'm
Yes,
with you.
Yes.
No, you're not trapped here. You can leave the vow. You just can't use magic.
Oh, we
If
have to
we
go
could-
through.
If we
this
could get
Leave
outside the
mom.
veil and then use the teleportation, is what you're saying. Excellent. But that looks like
Oh no, you're going to need much more powerful magics than a teleportation scroll to go from plane to plane.
How could you're saying we could leave via ways that are not magic? How could we possibly do that?
Well, you could sail through the mall. Again, I do not recommend that.
We
That
should
is
sail through the mall. Sounds like fun.
very, very treacherous waters, or you can find one that passes.
But we have a sailor
That is true. You do have a sail.
and a wizard. I don't know what you do. I saw her throw a dagger, I think, or shoot a crossbow.
As I said, I serve soup in the kitchen for the orphans back home.
All right, so we have 2 people that can help, including myself,
I can serve food.
and we won't go hungry. Well,
We have
that's
a
an
little
option. We can keep that. We can pin that one right there.
By the way, you being 1,000 years old or so, which, by the way, is fucking insane to me, but did you know more about this, and I kind of look over to Fianna, person who cannot be named or something like that? What did the, I'm not being rude here, the Empress say? Cole, you know what I'm trying to say.
I grab the wine bottle and take a deep swig and head on over. This is fantastic. But yes, more of your culture, more of your history. This one that should not be named. We are starting to suspect that that might be part of the reason why we're here.
Oh, I do not think that's possible. He was destroyed.
Things that can be destroyed can be brought back.
That is also true, but many, many many years ago, before my time even, there was another city-state and there was another emperor. But he tried to take over the Vale and rule all the emperors and
Yes,
the empress and bring them to heel. And almost succeeded.
that's with your 3 other cities. Marson, the Oathmaker, your Keeper, your Dragon Queen. Is it possible there are what we call copycat murderers? People that seek to emulate those great villains that have been long past. Perhaps it is someone horribly trying to reinvoke the memory of this person in their stead. An apprentice, if you will.
He looks a little bit visibly shaking at that notion, and kind of like leans back on his desk to gain his footing.
No, that can't be. That would be terrible. You don't understand.
I do not understand, and I do agree that it would be terrible. As terrible as being ripped from across different planes of existence and glug, glug, glug. Being brought to a foreign place with delicious wine.
But first bitten by spiders.
Don't forget the spiders.
In each of our city-states, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives living under the rule of our empress and the other emperors. In this mad one's bid for power, he snuffed out his whole city. He killed them all and turned their life force into a weapon. He nearly succeeded in taking control of the rest of the Vale, destroying the emperors and the empress. He was mad.
How long ago was this?
He starts like counting
What an abacus.
on his count fingers. Yeah.
Several millennia ago.
Oh,
And you say he was almost successful. Where did he direct this weapon?
I do not know exactly. Against the emperors and empress, perhaps? It was before my time.
Clearly, yes, obviously, sorry.
There is so little lore about what happened. The emperors and the empress, they fear another might try to do the same, as you said, a copycat. So
your empress was alive during this time, yes? Based on what you're telling us?
yes, she struck the killing blow.
Are there more? And he kind of like he struggles for like a lack of a better word. Dragon people that
Dragonborn,
were alive.
yes, we are all over the place.
Yes, were there any others here that were as old as your empress is that were witness to said incursion?
If they are, they have not made themselves known. The empress and the emperors are very rare indeed. There's the 3 that I know of. There may be others, lessers, that keep themselves hidden away or living different lives.
And she looks like a hairless ape, right? But
Yeah,
she
yeah,
presented
she
herself like a human in essence.
She looks like some amalgamation between human and elf and half elf.
hey, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Flynn is going to be moving about the room, scouring while everybody's talking, looking for any bottles of alcohol.
Besides the one in my hand.
Besides that one.
Good luck getting that one out. I'm about halfway through at this point.
There is actually quite a few bottles that could potentially be
He's-
alcohol or
So
something.
while people are talking about very important plot relevant things behind him, he's going to turn and look around,
He's gonna be a
You,
halfling.
like,
Got it.
try to grab it and take it, and then just uncork it, and then come back to the party and just like stand there while listening and just, oh yes.
Blue,
I
red,
will
blue, red, or
cheers you with
green?
the bottom of my bottle.
Blue, red, or green?
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh no!
he's like,
Your logo, bro, your logo is
I
green.
picked green. I picked
Your
green.
logo is green.
Roll a d10.
And
No.
then I begin drinking it.
Psychic damage.
So you taste it, and it does have a bit of a liquor smell to it. And maybe you kind of uncorked all three of them and sniffed them a little bit, and like that one kind of like seems like it might be alcohol.
I'm doing important business.
So you sip it,
Yeah.
and your body begins to dissipate
Oh,
into a green cloud.
I cork it back and I put it back and I come back to the party.
And then it's like, and then like you like slam back together because you only took like a tiny sip.
Oh, I come back together.
Yeah.
I go back and I grab it and I'll pocket it for now and I'll come back. If I need a sleight of hand to that.
Check yeah on that.
Oh man. All right, my bonus for that is
I mean, did any of us see this?
That's what we're gonna find out.
oh
Roll again. That's one.
oh I get to roll again. That's right. I'm a half.
Yeah.
halfling.
You're a halfling.
There we go.
That's a little better.
What are your passive perceptions?
Mine is 17.
Ha.
I don't think I'm gonna beat an 18.
I'm not
13.
actively looking either. I mean,
Yeah. So like I'm gonna say
14. Yeah.
Phinia, like you kind of like see something out of your corner of your eye. You think you see something weird, and then you look, and it's just Flinrin, kind of there, whistling with his hands behind his back.
Yeah, I look at you and I'm just like, oh, yep, just
Yeah,
looking around.
I totally can see that camera cut. Oh, okay.
I come back like nothing happened.
I keep drinking.
Gas.
I have an interesting theory, but I need to spend more. I'm gonna wait for the queen. When
Yes,
are we
but-
having our delegations?
So is there tomorrow you're leaving? Tomorrow you're leaving. Yes, tomorrow early afternoon, late morning.
Pith kind of speaks up.
I believe.
And which are we going to first, or is it a meeting of all three of them that we're arriving at?
Oh, there's a sacred holy grounds where the court convenes. It is the only place.
Do you believe, Nymph, that these dragons are, or I shouldn't say, this court of Wyrms will have answers for us on how to get us home? Are they that strong and knowledgeable?
Honestly, I think what the court is going to convene for is to determine what your appearance means to the Vale. What did the lady tell you? What has my empress said?
That we should be treated as foreign dignitaries. With all due accoutrements, titles.
What is a foreign dignitary?
It is where you present yourself from another land and you represent that land. And
Oh, I do that all the time.
Exactly. I am a foreign dignitary of Faerun, and it pretty much makes us royalty.
Oh, I'm not royalty.
Pretty much.
But you might be. Perhaps you should consider your parents' lineage. Maybe you are a great person to represent the
Well,
Two Moon world that you're
we
from.
don't seem to do it like, all the humans and all of them kind of go about it. Us halflings don't have kings. We just have, us families and folks live out on the hills.
So what you're saying is that you are king of the hills in Faerun, or in your land.
I have a house. I'm king of my house.
So you are king of your own castle. Then what you're saying?
I am king of my house. My home, my hovel.
And I am queen of the end of this bottle.
The empress will keep to whatever she said. That I can assure you.
For the record, I'd probably say what she actually said, but that was a whole episode ago, and I don't clearly remember.
It was like it was a whole week ago or something.
She had said she would attempt to help you find your way home, and that you were under her protection.
Okay.
and you would be safe in the city. And she was going to present the lot of you at the Court of Worms.
Well, shall we get along with the court then?
If indeed this court is going to meet in the morning, then perhaps we should
Party. We should party with the locals, she says after putting the bottle
Henry
down.
gets really excited. He's like, oh.
She took the words right from my mouth.
We need to celebrate this occasion, as is tradition in Faerun, by going to your local establishments and passing our good words on to the people. And receiving the good words in kind will bond us.
Do you know what halflings pass when they go to different cities and different taverns?
Oh, I have quite the idea what halflings pass when they go to different places. But
We
that's
pass
discussion.
out.
Not where I was going.
Well, I do not believe I'll be able to help you with that. That is a young lizard's game. Way past
Thank
mine.
you very much for your time.
Young
What
lizard.
are you talking about? What's your name? What do you mean, nymph? You look like you party all the time.
Well, I was quite the rabble rouser in my youth, but that was 500 years ago.
I'm
Seriously,
tempted between going to the tavern and listening to this guy talk
yes,
about his party here. It's
Seriously,
like,
you'll have to
I
tell
wanna
me
hear
what
about
is. You have to tell me what spell you did to make that happen. That is quite an accomplishment where I come from.
What do you mean? All of our kind are long-lived.
Not that long-lived in my homeland. Sure, maybe an elf could go 800, 900 years, but only large beasts like the dreaded sea kraken will live so long as to see a full millennium.
Really? Pith? Yes. Pith, how old are you? Oh, it's been, and he starts thinking, 400 years. I am 400 years.
By the gods! That is insane!
That is quite a long time to live for. Yes.
Perhaps it is the eggs. Do you lay eggs?
Perhaps it's the fact that we're in a different universe and there's probably a time dilation spell on us. For all we know.
Of course, kobolds.
But I do want to take some of your skincare back home just in case.
They have scales, though.
They do have scales.
That would do
Kobolds
wonders for
and
people back home. I've seen some women with scales.
We live a long time. I mean, I'm really old even for my kind, but you know, it's not uncommon for us to live between 500 and 800 years.
Do you ever get bored just being inside the city for that long?
Oh, when I was younger, I used to go out of the city all the time and have adventures, and I was a bit of an a-hole when I was younger, to be honest with you. We used to like to mess with the hairless apes.
A question about those hairless apes. You are a much learned and cultured person. Did they also live a number of years, the hairless apes, or was their life expectancy a bit shorter?
They're kind of like fruit flies. They don't live very long at all.
All right.
40, 50, a really, really old one might live 80 years.
So wait, how long does a fruit fly live for you then? What's your comparison?
I
Is a fruit fly live
really
for like
want to tussle your hair in that moment. You're such a cutie.
I don't.
Oh, I guess I was
We're
trying.
going to need a frame of reference in what you consider expectancy in this universe.
I was being a bit sarcastic. I was trying to be funny. Fruit flies only live like 3 days.
Oh, all right.
Quite charming. You are very hilarious. And as my companion said, you don't look a day over 200.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, she does. She looks like she's like billions of years old.
You I have no more wine.
You look like you belong in a museum.
I do. I am.
That's no
quite-
insult. It's just that's just what you look like.
And you say you are a people's person.
Huh?
You are a
I never
people's
said
person.
that.
I hate halflings so much.
My guess,
Should've taken the
your
silent
friend
bell.
is saying, because you say you're a bard, that he thinks that means you're a people's person.
Oh. Is that what those are? They're people's persons?
Never mind, little one. It
I
is.
think entertainers usually like to socialize.
It is, as we say on the sea, over your head.
Okay, it's now time for me to be a roguey douche while everybody is talking.
That's
And
'cause I'm short, huh?
I'm gonna look around for any old-looking books, something of their history, perhaps. I mean, he seems to be one of the most highly educated people here. Any locked up books somewhere, secret kind of Harry Potter library area that you don't go into, dealies.
Okay, so you kind of start poking around while he's talking.
I make it look as though I'm looking for another bottle of something to drink. Oh, this is empty. I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Okay, give me a investigate check.
All right. Do I get any bonuses on that because of my cloak or boots? No. Okay, so investigation coming in hot.
Are you searching with your feet?
11. Ugh.
There's plenty of old books. If you want to grab one, give me a sleight of hand check.
That I can do for you. That's 23.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
So you make a book vanish. No one notices. Basically, you grab like the oldest one you see.
All right. Maybe that'll.
I
fingers crossed.
kind of just assumed that Fiona was gonna like nick a couple scales off of off of Pith before before she
mean,
left.
I hate to go like Road to El Dorado on everybody here, but she's kind of like map, adventure, new world. Like she doesn't really, besides getting home to her loved one, she's still an adventurer. She still wants to go and see what she can before she dies. And what better way to say I love you to Nathaniel waiting back home than I traveled across the plains of existence to bring you this single flower. Like
The oldest cookbook ever.
I hope that's not what it is because she cannot cook.
How to serve man.
I'm going to look over at Lucky
Oh God.
and say, what's Fiona doing?
It appears she is probably throwing up. Perhaps she does not have her drinking legs under her here. I did not partake in the wine, but if these creatures live to be so old, I imagine they can probably take one for a theme. You know what I'm saying?
So when are we going to the tavern?
Now.
I
I feel like I'm done here. If
yeah.
you
I walk outside the door,
Yeah, let's go.
and I'm going to use my bardic halfling eyes to locate a tavern.
Your bardic eyes.
Nice. So as you head out,
Oh, your nose.
Pith accompanies you, but he hands you off to the captain. And when you guys are talking about taverns, I believe Grathlam is going to be much more useful. As you know, I tend towards more spiritual matters. I'm not going to. I'm not one for the reveling, as a lot of you seem to be interested in. But I'm sure the good captain will be able to help you.
All right.
Yep, I got it from here, Pith. Where do you lot want to go? What are you
Where
looking
we can get drunk.
We want to go to the dirtiest, diviest, finest establishment that you have.
What they said.
I just shake my head and I say, onward and upward.
I am hearing some contradictions there, but I can take you to. How about I take you to the closest tavern?
That is usually what I look for.
So
IRL and in-game.
he leads you out of the Moonspire and down a couple of streets, a couple turns. You pass some more of those pagodas.
Oh,
And-
pagodas.
Yeah, several of them too, and something kind of begins to stand out about them. They each have 5 levels, and each one of those levels, there's a draconic rune
on each one, and every time you pass one, they're all the same. And they go earth. There's a draconic room for earth, metal, fire, water, and wood.
Is that ascending or descending?
Ascending.
Earth, air, metal, fire, wood.
Yeah, earth, metal.
Forgot water.
Yeah. They go up. They go up, and it goes earth, metal, water. Get that one, water, fire, and wood. There is no air.
Okay. And then the fire.
Well, that's the
nation
space
attacks.
above the pagoda. It's air. It's implied.
You guys have elemental taverns?
They're not taverns. There's just, you see several of these buildings that you pass, and they kind of stand out from everything else. Everything else seems to be made of clay or terracotta bricks with teardrop shaped shingles on them. But those buildings are a bit different.
Can I stop or as we're traveling, ask the captain, Captain, these buildings, they stand out. They seem ornamental almost. What is their purpose here in your village, in your town?
Oh, it's our religion here.
Oh, what god do you worship?
It's not really a god. I mean, we know of gods from stories, but our faith, our religion is based upon the healing elements.
The healing elements. You say
Yes.
fire heals you.
All the elements have their place, yes. Certain elements require fire to heal.
I imagine if you're a dragon, that makes sense. Fire could be quite replenishing.
Fire is in many of the things of the world. So the priest would tell you.
Like the soul.
Yes, they would probably tell you that as well. Pith would have been a good one to ask these questions of. That's kind of his thing. Did you see the necklace around his neck?
Oh, right.
He's a priest. Sometimes they call them clerics too, I believe.
Now, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I wanted to go to a tavern, not a church.
Yes, we're going to a tavern.
Okay, right. Just pointing that one out right there. Yep.
Yeah, I imagine you guys are still walking as talking. You guys are kind of like pointed these out. So him kind of pointed to one and asked questions about it, and he leads you past it, and there's a sign outside of this tavern. You hear the noise before you get there, and it's night, so the light is kind of pouring out the windows. And the sign, at first it looks like a coiled rope or snake, but it's actually a tail, but it doesn't go anywhere. Like it ends in like the dragon spine at the end, like the triangle piece. And looking at it, you can see it's looped and scaled, but it's all coiled up.
All right.
This establishment should do just what you're looking for. I will hang out to make sure you don't get into any trouble or the locals don't give you a hard time. They're not going to be used to seeing your kind around here.
Oh, it's all right. I think they'll enjoy our company. I hope.
Well, yeah, he opens the door for you, and welcome to the Coiled Tail.
Coiled tail.
Coiled tail.
And there's music coming out from within. The bard, immediately you recognize percussion instruments and stringed instruments. Oddly enough, no wind instruments at all.
Interesting.
And you see a band, and when you come in, and the far side of the tavern, and like I said, they're playing stringed instruments, and there's several different types of drums and chimes and triangles.
All right. Is there a bar?
There is.
I'm going to go up there. I'm going to buy everybody a mug of ale.
I
And
will
then
start
hand
the
that off.
cheering to try and get the crowd in a good
I don't know
mood,
how much
'cause,
that costs. I think that's like what, 2 silver, something like that.
Yeah, whatever the
No, with your foreign currency, it's only one tiny little copper piece, right? Because it's worth
Right.
so much more.
It's worth so much more here.
Strangely, all the universes use gold.
That'll be 4 diamonds.
As we begin drinking, I'm going to do my best to try and peruse around the tavern, and get a sense of who's here. It may look like I'm trying to gain information, but Flinrin has no idea what he's doing, and he's just having a good time.
I want to check out my book and see if it is indeed a cookbook.
It is not a cookbook. You look at it, you grab the oldest book you saw. It's his diary.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
And I have to read it because it actually could have useful info. Dear diary, today I was an old dragon. Dear diary, today I was an old dragon who wished he was a younger dragon. Dear diary, dear diary, dear diary, dear diary. Ah!
Oh my gosh. That's great.
I will drink and read and watch my companions, as I'm sure they've picked up on what I want to do here. But
so you guys have kind of have a crowd gathering around you. They're not really engaging you particularly, but they just seem curious.
Oh, a crowd! I pull out my ocarina, which is a wind instrument, and I will begin playing it to whatever song the band is currently playing.
you got this, buddy. Music
Give
makes
me,
people
give
like
me a
it.
perform check to see if you can.
You can do it.
All
play in
right.
sync with
You
the band.
can do it.
All right,
Are you
let's
really
see.
cheering
Yeah,
on the
do
bard
it.
that you hate so much?
I really am, because he's gonna make things a lot easier for us. I
Easily.
don't hate him. I just don't
Easily.
like halflings.
Easily, you blend right in with them, and as
Right.
soon as you take this instrument out and bring it to your lips, there's like an audible gasp amongst the crowd,
Cool.
and you hear the whispering. Is it magic? Is it sorcery? What's he doing?
They have never seen.
When they begin whispering that, I'm going to cast Mage Hand to hold the ocarina in my mouth, and I'm going to pull out the viola and begin playing it alongside that, kind of like a one-man band kind of thing.
It's pretty cool, actually.
The crowd begins like clapping and snapping, and
Okay, cool.
trying to fit into the song,
Awesome.
and they genuinely seem very pleased.
Cool. And then I'm going to use an ability now. This is from my subclass. I'm going to use my
Smite.
enthralling performance. So once per short rest, I can choose 4 creatures that watched and listened to me perform for a minute. Each target has to make a wisdom saving throw. The DC is 15, and they are charmed if they fail.
Okay.
Mic drop.
All part of my plan.
That's why this bard is awesome.
Scott
What is this
Flittering
kind of-
versus the world.
Beautiful.
Glamour. I'm a glamour bard, guys.
Oh, that's nice.
Ah.
Of course you are, Jacob.
Yeah.
What is your DC? DC 15?
DC 15.
Yeah, three of them, their eyes begin to glaze over,
Great.
and you're not sure. You think they are kind of smiling in your direction, but it's really hard to say.
They're just like, because they're dragons.
Yeah. You're not sure if they're constipated, they're angry, or what. But
They're constipated.
like
Cool.
three of the closest ones to you just kind of like start.
Why do we
grimacing.
keep bringing the brown note
I
back
will-
into
I will-
this?
I know. I was just thinking like, no.
I will trail off my song with the last little hint to the end of the song that the band is playing. And I have those. I know those 3 who are charmed. I'm going to go to one of them at some point casually and begin to start a conversation with them.
Okay.
Whenever I'm done performing.
Okay. Well, as soon as you kind of wrap up, I actually think they actually come to you.
Oh, okay.
That was wonderful.
Oh,
that was
thank you.
Beautiful. How
I
did you learn to do that?
I learned a few things back in the woods at home. There were these fairies that taught me how to play magical, mystical music. It was quite a journey.
One of the ones you think it's a female kobold,
Okay.
just by her the way it looks, but you're not entirely sure. Can I seize it?
See the fairy?
Your instrument.
You know what? I will let you see that, but I am a noble adventurer in need of some help, some information. If you could help me out with that, I will gladly let you hold this magical instrument.
It's magical?
Oh yes, very magical, and I'll cast a light on it as it begins to glow. As it just...
I see. It must be magic. It glows.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, I know this is a little bit hush-hush, but you know, we're all friends here. We all know the stories. Do you know about the betrayer?
All of them at once, kind of like gasping.
Abort plan.
It's only whispered, especially amongst us common folk.
Oh, right. I begin whispering.
We're not supposed to talk about that. And they make some gesture, that you think you just can only guess it's like the ward off evil spirits or bad juju.
Oh, okay, all right. It's the this of
yeah.
All right. Well, I think I might have been somehow targeted or attacked by them, and I just want to get some more information so I can know about them in the future. What do you
Oh no, it's not possible. You could not have been attacked by the you know who. Well, they don't exist no more.
But you've never heard even a whisper of his existence?
Oh yes, before the Empress destroyed him.
All right. So he's dead then. You all think he's dead?
Yes, it's no more. We're safe because of the Empress and even the other
Oh, I
emperors.
wasn't safe. I was nearly killed. I'm sorry. All right. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
But when you kind of like I was almost killed and you're like seem a little distraught, like 3 hands reach out at once to like kind of pat your shoulder.
Thank you. Here, try your hand at it, and I hand over the viola to let them play with it.
Have I found anything interesting in this diary?
I'm
I would have
probably
paused
seeing
at the performance and been like, yeah, and just like one hand has the book and flipping pages, and the other has the ale and is just like trying to power read through it, but
There's all kinds of notes of like previous lovers, academic rivals, and mentors and apprentices. And hey, I had oatmeal for breakfast today with some flies in it,
Oh my gosh.
I made this magical discovery today, and then it like cites another book that he wrote it in.
that would actually have the information that we. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's like so there you find actually a lot of those throughout.
I'm gonna dog ear all the pages that I think are relevant magically to us, and I'm going to saunter on over to my wizard companion Sahim.
Yeah, I was about to say I probably see you with this book,
And I'm just gonna. I happen to have checked this out from the library, and took some notes on some pages that I thought you might find relevant to our situation. And there's also a really good recipe for oatmeal in here.
When did you get time to go to the library? I would have loved to go to the library.
It was by invite only.
Oh, interesting. And I'll take the book and I'll kind of like flip through it. Am I getting like a weird vibe? Like she should not have this book? Like
Absolutely.
like the first page is like Nymphet's
I am
journal.
a bottle of wine deep, and the whole like she's kind of just like, yes, library, whatever. Like,
but I'm a very trusting person, so I'm probably like, did he give this to her? Like, oh, he must have.
They really bonded over that bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I will come over to
that
Lucky.
only I drank out of.
I'm gonna go over to Lucky, and I'm going to sit next to him. Have you drinking your ale?
I certainly did drink into my ale at this point, and so
I will look at him and say, "Do you want something a little stronger?"
do you have something a little stronger?
I
Do you
found
have
it.
something a little
And he
strong?
pulls out the green bottle and he's like, "Oh,
Whoa.
see, I
There are 3 kobolds standing directly behind Flinrin, and they're kind of like peering over his shoulder, like listening to every word he says.
What is with the entourage here?
They love me. It happens. So this right here.
Okay, anybody on Twitter, settle down.
This is incredible. I think it's magically potent. I want to see what happened if you took a swig, and I'm gonna pour a little bit in a cup and just hand it over to Lucky.
It
You
is
know,
a
we had-
green-colored, strong smelling. It was like kind of like rubbing alcohol liquid.
Here, we can do it at the same time, and I pour some in my cup as well.
You know, we have a game that we used to play where we go shot for shot on the boat, and
Oh, that sounds fun.
I always was lucky enough to never have alcohol poisoning. So if you and your little, and he's a little inebriated at this point. He's not trying to be rude, but he probably is a little bit because he's a fucking sailor. So like there's no filter.
He's a fucking sailor.
If you can do this, no problem.
Oh,
And I
Frank,
kind of raise it up and clean his glass.
drink it.
Do you drink it?
I'm gonna drink it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lucky's going for it too. I'm gonna go just boom and just knock it back.
And I just put it out.
So
on my
it's
way
super
through it.
strong. Instantly makes your tongue tingle, and then you feel and watch as your body like begins to disperse.
No shit!
Green gas. But it was only a little bit, and then it's like the gas like slams back together, and you reappear. And
It's not some trippy shit.
That was the best shit I have ever had.
Look over. I'm like, Sahil, Yana, you have to try this.
I absolutely do.
and you come over and you look at the bottle he pulls out. It is clearly like marked with a magical rune on it.
What's it say?
It says potion of gaseous form.
Right. And so I also have one of those in my inventory because Dave was nice to allow us one potion. So I'm looking
haven't
at
touched my
him and I'm just
potion.
like, and I checked to make sure mine's still there. Where did you get that?
I found it.
You found it?
He got it in the library.
Right. Yeah, that's where I got it. Yeah, that's actually where I found it.
The invite only library? I gotta figure out where this place is and
It's
get my
very
invite.
exclusive.
It's really strong.
You didn't get the okay.
We're all fucking with the wizard. Oh man.
There was a bear in there. There was an elephant. There was a whole zoo. All right. So, whoever drinks this entire thing, I will give them 10 gold.
We should save it. No. No.
I give it to Deanna.
Boom! Give me that money.
Well, you've just made 10 gold, but now you're
I
a
give you 10
green cloud. The kobolds and dragonborn in here are all looking in your direction now.
She's transformed into a fart.
Lucky's gonna lean in and go, just out of instinct, pure drunk
He
instinct.
who smelt it dealt it rules. I'd like to make it appear as though I'm coming out of his ass. Then if I am suddenly a fart, I am your
not
fart
cool.
now.
Not
I am
cool.
your fart now.
Oh my god.
Easiest 10 gold I've ever made in my life.
I'm holding out the gold. I'm trying to give it to the fog.
Oh, guys, we apologize, Saver Dice fans. This is, this is what am I talking about? This is fucking normal show.
Yeah.
You invited me here. You knew what you were getting into, okay?
Who invited me and Tia? This is we're going to transform into fart clouds.
Episode 2.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so for the next for the next hour or so. Oh yeah.
No fucking way.
You are a
That is amazing. You
I
can
stand on the
literally
table.
You can end it if you like,
you
though.
can literally see the point on Dave's face when he's typing it in to see how long it lasts, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's an hour." Like,
I am going to use this opportunity, and I am gonna fart cloud my way around for a little bit, and maybe try to stealth and get in on some conversations.
Oh my gosh.
You can absolutely do that, and after a few
Silent but deadly has a whole new meaning.
after a few minutes of it, you can you figure out how to control it, change the color slightly.
I'm so proud of myself.
This is
Oh my
such good
god, that's
practice.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can eavesdrop on
So-
anything that might be potentially useful. Do I get advantage because I am a big stinky cloud?
Oh, for stealth, absolutely.
Sweet, let's give it a rock and roll here. That is still not great. 7 plus 9 is math.
16. Okay, yeah,
Thank
you know, most people are definitely not going to notice you. It's a ruckus tavern. They're drinking. They're inebriated, and you hear all kinds of gossip. The biggest thing you can probably hear about is the Court of Worms being called, and the one thing that kind of strikes home is, like, you keep hearing people say things like, "In my," there's an old dude there, and it's like, "In my 750 years in this world, I've never seen a Court of Worms called," and different variations of that. That being probably the oldest age you hear. So this is definitely a big deal, and people seem like, some people seem scared, others seem excited.
Well, I can't communicate in any way, shape, or form, so I'm just gonna keep farting around.
No, he's not smart enough. He would just begin partying and continue drinking until.
Is there any specific bit of information that you're looking for?
yes. Oh, sorry.
Not, I mean, not particularly. More about hairless apes, because that seems to be the only connecting thing for us and them in their literature and their lore. Maybe when was the last time a Court of Worms was called? Just anything really pertaining to us.
Okay. So Court of Worms, over and over again, you hear this is the first one. It might as well be the first one for intents and purposes for these folks. You do find one really ruckus and crass table where they're talking about hairless apes. And really, it would be the equivalent of a bunch of racist hillbillies talking, right?
Yeah.
Is what you get the gist of from these guys. It's very good.
Why do they gotta be hillbillies? Why do they gotta be hillbillies, Dave? They can't just be regular old racists out in Jersey? I'm just saying.
Because they gotta be hillbillies.
They gotta be. I don't know. I like the imagery of a dragon hillbilly. Actually,
They're dragons from Texas.
It's got a big stick of straw.
yeah,
in it.
that's exactly what I was thinking with that. Yeah,
Fuck you guys so hard.
Coveralls.
Fuck you guys so hard right now.
The next conversation they bring up. Is
You
they
don't know
start-
how, but somehow they have a big beard.
Sweetie, I'm from.
What was the wrestler? Hillbilly Jim? Was it Hillbilly Jim the
Yeah.
wrestler?
The next conversation they bring up, they start talking about how overpowered healing word is.
I finally got to see that. 10 out of 10.
I'll just do the Kermit sip my tea meme.
None of my business.
Your moon. Sorry.
That's great.
So in Lucky would probably try to be kind of listening in around here as well. I mean, he's a rogue. So is there anything in particular that we picked up about this he who must not be named, or anything dangerous
What's
about
his
the Court
actual
of
name?
Worms?
I've forgotten it. It's not in my notes. It's not Grassic, right?
No.
No,
Okay.
that
That was one of our.
Gavnar was the keeper, right?
He was the keeper. Yes, correct.
Gavnar. Okay.
So yeah, just anything, literally any information about these people talking about Voldemort.
So
Yeah, I can't
essentially,
believe you
that
called
is
him
one
Voldemort.
topic that never comes up unless you guys press the issue.
All right, so they don't know. All right, cool.
Yeah, I tried to get that one out. Didn't work very well.
So I mean, after Lucky parties, quite a bit, he'll probably approach the group and be like, I believe it is probably time for sleeping in some form or another. Unless you plan on passing out here and sleeping on the floor.
All in the ground.
I would like to reappear at this point. Yes, I think that our endeavor here was quite fruitless. Good times, though.
I'm dancing with kobolds.
If it's all right with you, Fiona, I'm going to hold on to this book.
You absolutely go ahead and do that. I think that I would like to head back to the castle, the shrine, the castle?
Yeah.
Castle. I think it's time that we head back to the castle and get ready for this Court of Swords. It seems to be, or Court of Wyrms. Why did I say Court of Swords? Court of Wyrms.
Something.
It seems to be a very important endeavor here. It's not like a ball or any other kind of event. This will be the first gathering in many of their lifetimes. I think that we should prepare ourselves for something quite unexpected.
As you say that, sounding very serious, Flinrin falls onto the floor, nearly passing out drunk.
Presentable.
Captain Gotham appears out of nowhere, scoops the halfling up and cradles him like a baby.
Oh, thank you, Mommy.
Aww. And yeah, Fiona will start making towards the door, frustrated, but still curious.
Yeah. And the other takeaway too is the more common the folk were that you spoke to, the least they seem to know about this betrayer guy that you guys are trying to talk about.
It feels like they've kind of wiped it from history because history can repeat itself. I feel almost like this is one of those Stargate situations where, and I know that's the second time today where we've made that reference, but the movie itself where they you can't read or write, you can't talk about this, but this is the thing, and I think the Dragon Lady is the
or the betrayer was never real, and this is their Orwellian government keeping things on lock.
Oh!
Hashtag fake news.
Hashtag fake news.
The betrayer never happened.
Whoa. Interesting. I never thought about it like that, actually.
Dave, don't even.
Very good. Keep guessing, plebs. I feel like I would have communicated that on the way back, just kind of my almost sobering up for a moment. When you get drunk and then you have that serious talk on the way back, maybe leaving that this entire thing is quite blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Dichotomy.
I'm asleep on the shoulders of whoever picked me up.
The Dragonborn is definitely carrying your deposit.
Unless anybody else is wanting to do anything, I think Lucky probably wants to go back and crash and get up for the next morning so we can go on our march to the Court of Wyrms.
So 2 hours before it's time to leave, essentially, a runner sent to bang on all your doors. If you try and leave in the middle of the night, you have no trouble doing it whatsoever. Your doors don't seem to be locked from either side. They do have locks on the inside. If you wish to lock them, you can. You're presented with a meal in the morning, and you are led to the main thoroughfare, to the street below, and there is just a huge procession line. You guys are actually going to be led to a my brain just stopped working. Not a wagon, a carriage. Sorry. A carriage, the wrought iron carriage. It's fancy. It seems to be emblazoned with the heraldry of the city as well as the Empress herself. It is spacious, and it's being pulled by two enormous beasts. They're shaggy with bodies that are slung low to the ground, sporting 6 legs. They have long, square jaws, and they seem to be constantly chewing. These things are enormous.
Like elephant enormous, or
yes, yeah, they're like elephants, but with like short legs.
Okay, corgi elephant with 6
Yeah.
heads. Gotcha.
I want one.
Cutest. I want a corgi elephant.
I want
so
one.
bad.
I want one.
And also escorting the procession train it seems to be a full regiment of cavalry. They're all dragonborn that are mounted upon what look to be drakes. They're wingless drakes. They seem to really embody a combination of feline and draconic features, and they look quite fierce. They're all wearing barding. That's the same kind of armor you've seen on some of the other dragonborn, where it seems to be like a lacquered wood or bamboo type substance. And and then there's also, it looks like a lot of like commoners and soldiers. Essentially, it's a small army that is leading you to the Court of Wyrms.
I would have dressed as incredibly nicely as they would have let me have clothes.
Yeah, they would also offer you up wardrobe and ask you, what kind of.
I'm kobold
clothing.
size.
I really want to go through a montage of like Dragonborn trying to dress a human.
We come out. They appreciate the
come out
clothing, but I must admit the draft in the back is not particularly pleasing. I mean, unless you're into that kind of thing.
We all have butt flaps for their tails.
Yeah.
I cannot believe I cannot believe that all of this is just for our arrival here. This is a little much. Do you not think?
Not after the information that I had gathered last night while I was in my gaseous form. It seemed that this is quite the normal. This is a heralding event. It is not as common as crowning a new monarch or opening a new building. This is, as our friend had said earlier, once in a millennia event. And I plan to make sure that my name is remembered in their history.
That is probably a good plan, but it does strike me odd with so much formality. It is probably a good thing that we are under certain protection here. With so much formality, that is probably a very, very, very good thing.
Well, we had noticed that the commoners and the plebeians of this world were not open to having such discussions with us, but if I know any government or ruling aristocracy, is that there's always someone who isn't quite happy with the leader and the way that things are going and a little bit more amicable to opening up. Perhaps at this event we'll have a bit better of a chance of finding information on where we are, who this unspoken is, and how we're going to get home.
Indeed. Perhaps if this place has hushed over the betrayer's betrayal, maybe these Oathmaker or Keepers, people may not hold such qualms.
Now you're getting it.
I don't know what's going on.
I need you to play some lovely music for the particular people that we point out to you. There's going to be at least 3 of them. The Oathmaker, the Keeper. No, one of the cities fell.
Do you want me to like enchant them so that they,
Absolutely.
Just people from these other dignitaries, not aimed at the Oathmaker. Please.
All right.
Feigning ignorance is always an option. I didn't know you could cast magic. I didn't know that you couldn't cast magic. It's custom in my world. These are these things called lies. You practice them. You get that.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can try that.
As you're kind of being led to the carriage, waiting there is Gotham as well as Pith. They seem to have been chosen to attend your group.
I greet them in Draconic.
Pith and who? I'm sorry?
Gotham.
Oh, okay.
It's this Dragonborn captain that's been kind of attending.
Right. That went to the pubs with us.
Yes.
Okay.
I look up at them and I say, I'm a kobold in a halfling suit.
Pith, may I speak to you for a second?
You may. Your friend is very strange.
He's had one too many drinks, and I think he's still sleeping it off in a manner of speaking. I have a book here that I need you to return to Nymph.
Oh, damn it! I was.
I believe
Certainly.
he dropped this somewhere, and I really urgently need to get this back to him. But tell him that I'm very curious about the sandwich that he ate 3 months ago on page 487. It looked delicious.
I will absolutely ask him for you, or I will when we get back. I will send a runner with the book to return it. Nymph will not be attending
Of
the
course.
court. The travel is too much for him, or maybe he will be there, but he'll get there by some other means. I'm not entirely sure.
Now, I spent the evening flipping through this entire book. Did I find anything of value, like alchemical?
Yes. You know what? There's tons of happenstance magical lore and arcana in that book, even with just like, oh, if it was something he discovered, he references another book where he put that. But even like siphoning through that, you can have advantage on the next check you make. That's an arcana check.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you for the sub.
Don't tell Mike. Okay, so are they like putting us in a line? Are we like at the front of this thing? Is this?
No, you're in the
Are we
middle.
being like C-3PO'd, or are we being like Han Solo'd?
There's a carriage waiting for your group that's in the middle. And there's ranks of soldiers behind and in front. There's a couple other carriages that make you think that there's other important people going as well, probably aristocrats and nobility. You don't see anything that strikes you as being like, this is the Empress's carriage or a conveyance, though, because, you guys are kind of in the, one of the finer of them.
Okay, cool. Is there? This is like we don't want to draw the curtains back. We want to like have them open so that we. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's a land of dragons. I mean, we want to check it out.
Okay, yeah. So, the procession leaves the city almost like a parade, and there's plenty of common folk that are in the streets and they're throwing flowers and banging pots and pans together. It is kind of like New Year's Eve.
Nice.
With pots and pans.
With pots and pans and noisemakers.
Is that a Jersey thing? I mean, is there a point of reference there?
You guys don't bang pots and pans on New Year's Eve?
I do. That's a Canadian thing. That's something I did as a kid. Okay, it's a global thing. I've seen it in anime.
Are you guys fucking with me right now? Is that like a real
they
thing?
even do it in Steven Universe. Steven Universe wants to he looks forward to the episode with his dad where they bang the pots.
Yeah, I thought that was like a cartoon thing, not a
that's
a real thing.
That is a real thing when you're kids and you're.
You give your kids the pots and
I
pans?
have no fucking idea what you guys are
I don't
talking
know
about.
what kind of shitty childhood y'all had, but.
It's New Year's! I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Noise!
In case anybody didn't know,
It's noise.
All right, chat. You guys bang pots and pans
It's
for
the
New
weirdest
Year's.
thing I've ever heard.
I will create a straw poll. I'm gonna create a poll on Twitter right now. Actually, I'm gonna make it a 7-day.
You guys don't have fireworks and explosions?
We do that with the fireworks and explosions, so it's even more noise.
Fireworks are illegal in New Jersey.
Wow. Yeah.
That
okay.
sucks.
People had to resort to pots
Listen,
and
there's
pans.
certain things that you just don't do in New Jersey. You don't pump your own gas. You don't set off fireworks.
Whoa! 2 different languages here. That is crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna leave this poll for an hour, and we will know by the end of this
Oh,
episode.
I forgot. Cody's from Texas. It's like, oh, here's your crib and a 45 caliber weapon.
I do not own any guns, David Friant, nor did I ride a horse to school. Okay. Which I have been accused of before.
Oh man.
It was a donkey.
I didn't mean to derail. I just thought you were making
let's
shit up.
super-
You gave me a point of reference, like, yo, it's like New Year's Eve. I was like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking
Oh, well,
about.
these guys don't.
Not even a little bit.
Some of them set off fireworks. Some of the Dragonborn are breathing fire into the air.
Now that is super cool. That is super cool. A Dragonborn
joining you.
procession.
With prestidigitation, and I'm throwing out fireworks left and right.
I'm playing music.
Do I have any pretty spells that I can? No, nope.
And
No.
Do they
so
have the noisemakers from Party City that are just like,
the countryside, you guys leave the city, the countryside rolls by. It's going to be like 3 uneventful days of travel. On the second day, out off in the distance, you begin to see a mesa kind of come into view. As you get closer, you can see there's enormous statues and a building atop of it, and coming into view, you just see scenes carved all over this thing, as if maybe someone's been carving away at it for like thousands of years, because there is none of it that has not been touched. It looks like it gets kind of touched up when it begins to weather, and there is a road that kind of spirals around it leading to the top. There is, on 3 sides of the mesa, there are dragon statues that are probably about the size of a dragon. It's a big temple-like building that you are led to.
And this is on top of it, or
on top of
slowly
it.
going up? Okay.
As you're going up, you kind of see these things, and you can see different scenes of looks like probably from the history in the Val itself. One of the things you do see is a dragon kind of like standing over top of a field of eggs, and from those eggs you can see dragonborn and kobolds kind of coming out of them, hatching, and the dragon seems to be overseeing it and looking over it. It seems kind of notable. Some of the eggs, there's 4 kobolds coming out of an egg, and some of them there's like 2 dragonborn coming out of an egg.
Are there 4 dragon statues or 3 dragon statues?
There's 3 dragon statues.
Okay.
And as you get to the top, you can each give me a perception check.
That's a thing.
It is definitely a thing.
Love rolling dice.
Yes.
24.
Yeah, look at this.
Look at us
nice,
go.
nice. Here we go.
Dude, you just rolled a natural 19. You just got a mod on that.
I don't have a modifier. I have a +0 to my.
Okay, so that 24, you definitely see a spot where you think there was a 4th statue, and it's been removed, and they've tried, and whoever removed it, it looks like they did it in a way to try and look like there was nothing ever there.
Oh wow.
What amazing architecture over here.
Let's see. If I show
If she's pointing it out, do we kind of see
I'm
it?
trying to not
Yeah.
be so. Oh, the great 3 leaders that were here.
if you're trying to let them know, you guys, she kind of points in that direction, and the 19s definitely will pick that up.
Oh.
The 9 not so much. The same information.
I mean, just a rough idea on how has it been like buried, or has it been just like covered up with foliage? Like how is it? How is it?
It
How
feels
has
like
it
it was
been hidden?
eradicated probably magically, like a stone melt, and they tried to make it look perfect.
Yeah, it's just the
Oh,
way
okay.
the way the building is positioned and the way that the 3 statues are there. There's just like an offness.
It's like, when if
like-
you were to see Atlas without the globe on it, like you'd know something was supposed to be there, but like it's obviously not
Or
there.
that chick with the arms?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the scales but no scales.
The chick with the arms.
You mean
How we define
What
art
without the
here on
arms?
Saber Dice.
Is that?
I first off, I was a music major. Second off, I dropped out of that shit. All right, so, yeah, okay, cool.
I didn't even graduate high school and I knew who that was. Come on.
Do you think that has been eradicated on purpose? That's what it looks like to me.
Absolutely, I think it has, because they had said that it should not be mentioned. So there goes my
So
theory.
I'm going to share.
There goes my theory. No, there goes
A
your
map with
theory.
you
It
guys.
actually happened.
It is so strange to me to have this history wiped away. In my home world, if someone does something terrible, often it is a lesson for future generations. You will learn from history. But in this place, it is under lock and key, under thumb, if you will, about the non-existentness. But all of the people still know about this betrayer. It's almost like
Well,
the
that could be a
information
lesson
could
in
unlock more information, or they are fearful. It is strange to me.
That could be a lesson in itself. Not being written into history books or history whatsoever. You know, don't do bad things, you won't be remembered.
Can I get close enough to these
You say things.
ruins to investigate them to see maybe magically or non-magically how they change this landscape? Or am I too far away?
Well, you definitely would have to get out of the carriage and kind of look around, and that will be
seems
like,
really suspicious, so I will not do that.
it would be quite obvious, that's for sure. So they actually kind of pull up to one of the entrances and escort you out of the carriage. They open it up for you and begin leading you to the building. So I'm going to try and share a map with you guys. We'll see how this goes.
Should right-click it and go to like the talking head thing, and then go to the talking head thing again, or something like that.
All right, let me see. I think I'm going to have to reshare it with you guys. I'm not sure I've shared it the first place. Let's see. Here we go. So the right click.
Go to the left, and then go to like the all left again, or somewhere around over there.
Shake it all about.
I need Jeopardy music here for sure.
Music major.
Yeah, there we go. Can you guys see anything when I just pull this up?
Nope.
I got nothing, buddy.
I got nothing. We do have maps, and they're from Dungeon Pater Studio. That's what I'm making one or other.
All right. Let me slide over here.
Let's see.
By the way, I'm checking out Tia's poll, and right now it's 81% of hell no, we don't do that stuff. That's weird.
Paul still has 40 more minutes to go.
Oh well,
81% don't lie.
It's a jersey. Oh, we have select modes. I don't even know what that means. So it's a jersey and a Canadian thing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Jersey and I mean, I remember doing that, and it was like something I looked forward to because it's the only time you could stay up late and do something completely ridiculous like that.
It was like totally cool.
And it was only on New Year's. It was never like birthdays or like Canada Day. It was like or other firework occasions like Halloween and stuff. It was specifically New Year's was the pots and banging ritual that came out weird, but
not only have I never done that, I've never known anybody to ever except for you.
But Jacob, you're also so young that you don't know
you
haven't experienced it.
Maybe you don't know.
Here's something that I remember that I promise that you won't remember. I remember standing outside on December 31st, 1999, thinking that planes were going to fall out of the sky for the Y2K bug.
Yeah,
because that's what my parents said was going to happen.
But I know about it.
You're very disappointed too, right?
We had dial-up internet. We had VCRs. I remember all of those. Like, it's such a weird like point of time to be in because like I didn't grow up in the 90s, but I still remember a lot of 90s stuff.
Did you have cassette tapes for like your radio
and stuff?
Okay.
I remember having cassette tapes.
We're still in the same generation then. It's
right, but it's like I was a little kid when I had that stuff, and it's more like when I turned 10 is when like, oh, okay, all the new stuff started coming out. So I wasn't like I was a teenager and I had VHS tapes.
Jacob is the youngest, but also the most accomplished out of all of us. So don't let like we are just bitter because we're old, and that's why we're kind of.
I think I can define the difference between my generation and Jacob's generation is that I would get on my bike and ride over to my friend's house to play computer games, and he'd probably wake up and log online to play
No, man,
To
no.
play
I rode
computer
my
games
bike
with
to go to
friends.
play computer games. We only had one computer, and it barely ran the internet.
That's where you knew where everybody was when all the bikes were out front. I have a map in
I
front of
agree
me.
with that.
A
Yeah.
I
beautiful
also
map.
have a beautiful map in front of me.
Yay, we did stuff and
Yay.
pushed buttons. Okay.
So
David,
turning me
you
around.
have not you've not set your scale, buddy.
Oh, I don't even know what that means. We're
No problem.
Everybody has scales here in the dragon realm.
I'll just shrink everybody. We're all good.
I'm tiny.
Oh, that part's actually fine.
Oh no!
Yep.
What a world.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
What a world.
So you guys actually came in on the east wall, right? And in 3 of the 4 corners of this Colosseum-like building, there are daises with thrones upon them. You actually walk 30 feet downstairs, these wide steps, and there's stone benches, rows of stone benches all the way around. It's very much like a Colosseum. You can see these arcane marks etched upon the floor. There's a lot of draconic symbology. Behind the thrones, there's statues of dual dragons, as if they're overseeing or guarding the individuals in the thrones. Right now, you hear the slap of dragonborn and kobold hands as they beat their thighs and stomp their feet. On this far northeast corner, northeast corner, you guys came in through the west. I probably said that wrong. You see nothing but darkness. There is just a pitch blackness you cannot see into. It's as if you're just looking into an unlit room, and it makes no sense because it is hard edges, and everyone just seems to be kind of like ignoring that section of the room. On the east wall, south corner, on the throne, you see Briella sitting there. To either side of you as you enter, as you descend the stairs, Pith is with you, as is the Dragonborn captain. It's kind of acting as your footman, and also 4 guards. They seem more ceremonial than anything. On that northwest corner sits a figure. The first thing, even at this distance, that kind of stands out is his sunken black eyes that every once in a while, even from this distance, you can see the torchlight seems to reflect in them. He's got pointed ears that sweep back. He's got pale, almost dead-like flesh, where Briella's flesh was pale and white. It was also very like an alabaster. It actually looks pretty. She was
Like a luminescent kind of white, as opposed to like a inside your freezer kind of white.
Yes, that is a perfect description. He's also wearing this super tight fitting armor that seems to be made of black scales. He also has long manicured fingernails, but they appear to be painted black, so black, almost blue. He's also wearing a skull cap that also seems to be made out of scales as well. And leaning against his throne is a staff, and it seems to be made of bone and fang all melded together.
I think that's the guy we're looking for.
That is probably the keeper, yes? I mean,
One of the
hopefully.
Pith kind of like nods his head yes. Now the figure to the west south corner is actually he's enormous compared to the other 2. He's broad, where the other 2 are very thin. One, the keeper looks almost emaciated and gaunt. Briella, she looks healthy, but she's almost gazelle-like. Where this guy is probably broader than the 2 of them if they stood side by side. The front of his chest is armored, and they're like bands of red, crimson red, that kind of overlap each other, almost like the belly of a lizard. He's got enormous pauldrons on his shoulders. They seem to be scaled like the others. He also has a staff next to him, and it seems to be made of the same material as his armor, but it ends in a bladed weapon, like what is that? A nagiasha, the Japanese polearm. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I know exactly what you mean, but I am also...
couldn't confirm.
Well, at least it's not just me.
Can't help us.
And again, he also has that the pale-colored skin, but it does not. It looks somewhere in between the two of those, more of a moderate tone to it. He's got the pointed ears that sweep back. You can see it. You can see his eyes glittering like steel gray, even at this distance. And that's one of the things that seems the most remarkable of either these emperors or the empress themselves, is when you look at the eyes, and it just seems like no matter how far away, you can see their eyes, and they always seem to be like looking through you. As you descend and enter, all three of them rise and begin kind of like thumping their staves, and you're ushered to basically where you are now, in the center of the chamber. And as one, they hold up their staves, and the room grows silent. The Dragonborn and Kobolds take their seats in the benches.
As they're kind of doing that, I'm gonna kind of like as we're walking down and being led to the center of this whole Coliseum, I'm gonna kind of lean into Fianna and Sahim and be like, why did we not have a contingency plan for this? This is not going to be great if it doesn't go great, if you get my drift.
I have a feeling that these people stand on ceremony, and that it's not likely they're going to attack us in front of their other government. It's one of those, you can't do what's right out in the open. If we're going to be killed here, I have a feeling it'll be done in our sleep.
And I open my robe a little bit and point to the scroll of teleportation, and I give you all a wink.
But we all don't know that only works for one person. Got it.
Could work for a group. We'll see what Dave says.
So with that, the Empress speaks up. The Court of Wyrms has adjourned now, or has come to order. Please, my guests, announce yourselves and introduce yourself to the rest of the court.
I look to the bard.
I look up nervously. I look out. Do I lie? No. We are a group of people from across the Vale, from different lands, and we've been brought here to. We actually don't know why we've been brought here, and my name is what? Oh, right. My name is Flinrin Copperkettle, and I am one of what you call a hairless ape, but also a halfling. This right here is Lucky, a tiefling sailor.
Pirate hunter, just for the record.
Yes, he knows how to pilot a ship. This is Sahim, a gnome wizard extraordinaire who also makes toys in his spare time and is missing a birthday party. And this is Fianna, a elven
genius,
consumer of alcohol.
Billionaire, playgirl, philanthropist. Yeah.
And we seek your help.
I am Briella Moontalon of Sarasa. I am the Empress.
And she sits in her throne. Then the Emperor in the southwest corner speaks. I am Seymour, Oathmaker. I am the Emperor of Marsin. And he sits. I am Governor, the Keeper of Zenkeep. I am the Emperor. And he sits as well. The Seymour speaks up, the Oathmaker. We are here to determine
what this intrusion into the Val means and where these strangers have come from and why are they here at this time. Briella, you have brought them before us and you've offered them your protection. Until I know otherwise as to why I should not honor it, I shall. And then he sits as well. The gaunt-looking one, the keeper, kind of leans forward, grasping his staff and narrowing his eyes down upon the strangers. We should just dispatch them and be done with it. They're interlopers, and things are changing right now. It is a terrible time to introduce this unknown element.
We're not interlopers. We've only been brought here by mistake, by accident. We were nearly killed.
Pith kind of like shuffles close to Finland and kind of like gives you a quick elbow. As I've already stated, Briella says, these are my guests. They are under my protection. And because they come at this time, seems like the most important reason why we shouldn't be hasty. The Oathmaker, Seymour, speaks up as well. I agree. It is foolish for us to act in haste. We do not know what they mean, ill or otherwise, for these times. You were rash, Keeper. We should honor Briella. And also, Seymour speaks in a booming voice compared to the other two. The lot of you, what do you have to say for yourselves?
In our land that we all hail from, there is customary for a guest to be a representative of their respective, and I kind of like lean over to Fiona. How did you say that earlier?
Dignitaries.
Dignitaries that we are. And so for that, we require sanctuary humbly. As we have no ill will towards you, we are simply lost wanderers that are now, what was the word again? Dignitaries. Dignitaries for our respected lands.
I will say, Briella speaks up, these men and women are fated one way or another. Whatever is to come, it is important that they play their part. The Keeper kind of hisses out at you. It is foolishness. It will lead us to folly. How do we know they aren't here to set about our destruction? They are outsiders. They are strangers. They cannot be trusted, especially at this time.
I believe we've already been under the zone of truth spell to make sure that all of our intentions are quite out in the open. Unless you're saying your magic is inferior to that of Faerun.
So the Keeper settles his gaze directly on you and begins to glare. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Am I not immune to charms and stuff like that?
It's not charm.
Damn it. Wisdom saving throw?
Yes.
Fuck.
Psychic damage.
Let's go! 5, 6. That is not great.
You begin to tremble and shake as you feel the will of the Keeper upon you. Your bowels turn to water as you're overcome with dread and fear. And you just drop to your knees, kind of shaking.
He played the brown note.
For the record, I am not from her land. He is. And I point over to the gnome.
And I raise my hand and I walk forward and say, you said that these are interesting times or something's happening in this time. What times are these? Why are we here?
Briella intones, it is a time of change. The stars have aligned and something has happened. Strangers have come through the veil through means that have been blocked for millennia.
I propose we keep these travelers around. I believe they're fated. Their destiny may be tied to our own, despite what the keeper says.
I get up from my knees and stand and dust myself off. I fix a stare on him, but I don't say anything, having been sufficiently cowed. It's one of those, I'm gonna fucking get you for that, but not right now, because you totally got me.
The keeper once again intones, just dispatch them and be done with it. It'll be far easier.
Does the you had mentioned earlier that the keeper had a sort of like necrotic vibe to him.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
How strong is it? Is it just him, or is it among his people also?
It seems to be him. Like you could, like if it's oddly enough though, if you pick out like in the crowds, and by the way they're seated as well makes it kind of obvious as well as to what faction they belong to.
Okay.
But his actually looks the most unhealthy.
So,
And possibly undernourished.
I want to turn because the keeper's the one who's kind of being a dick.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn over to Simor, the Oathmaker. Please, you must understand, it is not of our power that we were brought here. I was on my own way before I was pulled into the mist and attacked by these dragonborn creatures that oddly looked like they had quite necrotic energies about them. And I'm going to kind of casually cut my eye from the Oathmaker over to the Keeper and then back over to the Oathmaker.
Yo, do you have prestidigitation? See? Or, sorry, what's the cleaning one?
Yeah,
Prestidigitation.
You think you can give me a hand here?
Yeah, and I snap my fingers.
Thanks.
And so if there's one word you would use to describe Simor, that was impassive. And he's looking back and forth between Briella and the Keeper. And then he looks upon the group. I propose something in between destruction and blind faith. Will you submit yourself to the trials of Draconis?
What does that entail?
You will be tested with a trial of power, a trial of cunning, and a trial of life. And this will determine the merit.
Do
We're
you
going to play a lot of brown notes.
do you not instead have a trial of loyalty?
What are you getting at with this?
Well, I don't want to how is this gonna be another way I can prove myself that I'm not like a death mage instead of like running like a fucking obstacle course with like razor blades and shit in it.
I remind the court that we
participating
are under protection
Wipeout.
of Briella, Lady Briella, Empress Briella.
How many people have survived this trial of Draconis?
Trial of puppies.
There are those that are worthy. All those that are worthy have survived the trials. They're not.
I will take the trials, and I step forward.
They're not inherently lethal, but
I will prove myself.
things have happened in the past. I will not lie.
Did he take the test? I say, pointing to Voldemort.
All the rulers have passed the trials of Draconis, and others have as well.
Well, it can't be that hard then. I'm in.
We're going to get killed here. We will take the trials as well. And I've kind of like pulled Sahim up because I know that he's got the teleportation spell. And so that if something goes bad, we're gonna bounce out of this place and get on a boat and bounce out of this place. But yeah, I'm not doing it without Sahim.
Yeah, and reluctantly I kind of snap back in and I'm like, yes, all for one.
We cross swords.
Yeah.
Then choose the first trial: life, power, or cunning.
I kind of cunning.
I'm
Cunning.
definitely in for cunning, yeah.
Cunning. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say.
I will supervise.
So with that, Samora stands up and points his staff in your direction And that's where we will end things for this.
Oh, no!
Fuck, man.
Damn it!
We're gonna be American Ninja Warriors, guys.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was great.
David,
I want to
well
play
done,
games.
sir.
Yeah, dude, you're
Well
killing
done,
it.
sir. All right, guys, we've got some beautiful words for our sponsors, and here to talk about our sponsors is
Me.
Jacob.
Okay.
So our sponsors, you know that we use Fantasy Grounds, our tabletop online thingy-mabobber of choice. You know all that stuff. It's pretty cool. You should check it out on Steam. It's pretty awesome, pretty fun. You can put your characters in it and all that stuff. Dungeon Painter Studios is where Dave, I think, made this awesome map, which looks super great. So use that in Fantasy
Which you
Grounds.
can't see on my stream, but go to Saber Dice on YouTube. I'll have a map thing that you can see later. Sorry, guys.
Make some Dungeon Painter stuff up in there, which is pretty dang cool. I think Norse Foundry, save 10% off in the description if you want to buy some dice. I don't know if they sell beard oil, but they got some cool stuff that you can buy there as well. If y'all want to do that. Those are our sponsors. Am I missing any? Am I forgetting any of
Nope,
them?
you nailed them all.
Just, ooh.
Well done, Jacob. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday on Save or Dice. We'll catch you then. Take care.
Nerdy.
Goodbye.